Is everything okay? Starship 28's Raptors swapped just weeks before the launch, but why? The assembly of the second tower has begun. Where's the rest? Starship will launch a space station and Virgin Galactic is ceasing all spaceflight activity. My name is Felix, welcome to What About It. Let's dive right in. Starship updates. The excitement over the third launch of Starship is growing non-stop. However, it looks like one of the prototypes for this flight needs some maintenance. Is it that bad? Follow me and find out. There is so much to cover in this episode, it is crazy. Our journey today starts at the production site, where the upper stage of the next orbital Starship, Ship 28, has been the focus of much activity. Regrettably, this has not been the kind of attention SpaceX hoped for. Following its departure from the high bay, the prototype was moved to a Raptor installation stand. At first, we thought this was just a temporary parking spot, but reality turned out to be a little more serious. On January 31st, one of the Raptor center engines was swapped for another one. Then, merely 2 days later, our photographer John captured the removal of a vacuum Raptor from the prototype. Engine swaps themselves are not an issue anymore. SpaceX has streamlined this process to such an extent that it can be done within hours. However, the burning question is, why do they need to replace Raptors so close to the launch? There are several potential explanations. Despite the Raptor's capability to generate enormous thrust and flame that will destroy everything in its path, it is, paradoxically, a rather fragile piece of hardware. Even minor damage, such as a dent in its bell, could render it useless, turning it into a high-tech paperweight. Damage may have occurred during the final assembly or during the most recent static fire. Alternatively, insights gained from the second launch might have revealed issues with these earlier serial number engines, perhaps a critical flaw in their design requiring the switch to newer models. This replacement suggests a minor setback in the launch schedule. While Valentine's Day is likely no longer on the table, rumors are that February still is SpaceX's target for launch, so no need to panic just yet. Since we're already in the area, let's go into the first megabay where we have something quite spectacular to show you. SpaceX recently shared pictures from inside this building, and the scene they depict is nothing short of breathtaking. Not one, not two, but 3 Super Heavy boosters proudly stand before us, fully assembled. To the left, we find the next in line for flight, Booster 10, right next to Booster 12 in the center and Booster 11 to the right. These giants rest on the newly erected work stands, part of SpaceX's initiative to streamline the production of Starships. 3 rockets, each capable of delivering more than twice the thrust of the legendary Saturn V side by side. These are the largest rockets ever built, and they are building up inventory. Let that sink in. The picture also offers a glimpse into the tooling used for booster production. It showcases the work platforms strategically placed for worker access and a pair of bridge cranes used to hoist the prototype sections into place. In front of these work stands, we see the 2 segments of Super Heavy Booster 13. Fairly recently, we discussed the installation of its CO2 tanks, which you can actually see up close in one of the pictures. Since then, the 2 segments have been joined, bringing the count of near-complete boosters to 4. This is insane. Here's a question for you. Do you think we'll see these 4 launch this year? Let me know in the comments. Another point of interest captured in this image is the entrance to the new megabay. Let's delve a bit deeper into this topic, as we've uncovered the manufacturer responsible for this door, which sheds light on how exactly it works. Initially, we speculated that SpaceX might possibly opt for a door system similar to the one employed at the Vehicle Assembly Building at Kennedy Space Center, solid panels that move independently. However, the actual design appears to use an entirely different mechanism from a Turkish company known as Shipyard Door. This door was hinted at several months ago through the installation of vertical guides made from structural steel. Similar structures were also seen during the construction of the second megabay, meaning that both buildings are getting protection. The functionality of this system hinges on 2 components, the top horizontal beam and the bottom beam. The top beam is the heart of the system, housing the bulk of the mechanical and electronic elements essential for the door's movement. Central to this system are steel cables secured by pulleys. These pulleys support the cables that are then wound or unwound by 2 electrical motors located in the middle. Operated together, they allow for some redundancy. Should one motor fail, the other is fully capable of taking over. Positioned to the right are limit switches. What's that? These switches play an important role in detecting the door's positioning, ensuring the motors stop once the door is completely open. The bottom beam's design is also surprisingly simple. It's equipped with additional limit switches for enhanced safety and 6 wheels that allow it to move smoothly along the guides. We actually saw this beam in action before the fabric segments were installed. Mounted atop this beam is another component equipped with numerous wheels. A closer look at our latest aerial photos, possible thanks to Redline helicopter tours, reveals 2 such parts were stored right next to the first megabay. This part acts as a load arrestor, a critical safety mechanism designed to prevent the door from crashing down in the event of a cable failure. Additionally, it also prevents the door from being opened when the wind is too strong, protecting the prototypes from accidental damage. The working principle of the door is pretty straightforward. The motors wind the steel cable, lifting or lowering the bottom bar as needed. However, the construction of the actual door is more complex than one might initially assume. The cover is constructed in segments, each requiring a horizontal steel or aluminum truss framed by 2 layers of PVC, which is a type of plastic. This configuration forms a durable sandwich with the beams nestled between the fabric layers. These segments are then connected, resulting in a robust yet surprisingly lightweight door that occupies minimal space when open. When the door opens, the fabric parts fold neatly and the beams rise together. Additionally, there's a special piece of material on the bottom that ensures a tight seal when fully closed. Now, why do I explain all this? Well, the structure provides insulation against sound, fire, and wind. Remarkably, the door is engineered to withstand winds of up to 260 kilometers or 160 miles per hour. That's enough to survive a Category 4 hurricane. It's an innovative system that is usually used as a shipyard or aircraft hangar door. I guess from now on they can also advertise it as a rocket hangar door. SpaceX doesn't use off-the-shelf systems that often, so it is great to finally see a piece of hardware with some public information available. Boca Chica is known for devastating natural disasters. What are your thoughts? Will this new door withstand a possible hurricane? Share your predictions in the comments. Looking at things from the bird's eye view can really tell you a lot about the inner workings of Starbase. How about you go see all of this for yourself? Book your own ride at Starbase and see these things in person, or just enjoy one of the most incredible views in the world. Go to redlineheli.com/Felix, you'll find the link in the description as well. I promise you won't ever forget this. With those modifications to the Mega Bay in place, we're about to witness a dramatic increase in the production rate of Starship prototypes. Yet manufacturing these behemoths is only part of the equation. The real challenge lies in launching them. This brings us to the development of the second launch tower. In a previous episode, I took you through the meticulous process of erecting a launch tower, from draining wetlands to installing the launch table. Here is a card to the tower building episode, and now we're finally starting to see some actual progress. During our most recent aerial flyover, we saw 2 sets of footings for what will become the second launch tower. These elements are necessary for securing each corner of a launch tower segment, allowing the construction team to install horizontal beams between them. By January 26th, the beginnings of the 8th section appeared to be underway, with the first column erected in a vertical position. However, our initial excitement was short-lived as the column was soon laid down. Persistence paid off though, with the column reinstalled on February 1st, marking a definitive start to this section. But Felix, how can you be so certain that this indeed is the 8th section and not, for instance, the first one? Great question. Firstly, 7 sections of this tower have already been completed, meaning that there is not much to choose from. Secondly, the 8th section is notably shorter than a standard OLED section. It's easy to miss, but both the 7th and 8th segment are designed to fit 2 horizontal beams instead of 3. This actually differs from the configuration seen at LC39A, where the 7th section supported 3 beams and the 8th only 1. This modification was likely done to address balance issues encountered when lifting the sections of the tower. With the 8th section actively being constructed at Starbase, all that is missing is section number 9. It holds the equipment necessary to run a cable used by Mechazilla's arms. Some parts of it are already at Sanchez, which hints that it will also be built there. The other sections are slowly making their way to Starbase. For example, segment 7 is already at the port of Brownsville waiting for transport. And it will soon be accompanied by 4 more sections. Footage from La Padre's cameras at Kennedy Space Center revealed that segments recently equipped with piping were moved towards the port. They are ready for transport. The question that remains is whether a single barge can fit all of them or if multiple deliveries to the port of Brownsville will be necessary. Only time will tell. Upon arrival, these sections will be transported to the Sanchez site, where they will likely undergo further outfitting with things like propellant and hydraulic lines. The idea is to finish as much work as possible on the ground to accelerate the building process. It is just way easier to flesh them out on the ground compared to working at several hundred feet height. As of now, the base for the second tower has yet to begin construction. SpaceX is likely postponing this phase until after Starship's third launch. And we hoped that they would construct the tower in an area obtained through a land swap with Cameron County. However, the negotiation process for this deal has experienced delays. The proposal was removed from the agenda of a meeting scheduled for January 25th to allow for further comments from the public. The final decision on the land swap is expected by March 28th. If SpaceX wants to begin the construction of the second tower soon, it will likely occur within the area they already own. That's the big mystery. Where do you think the second launch tower will ultimately be located? Do you believe construction could begin before Starship's third launch? Share your thoughts in the comments, I always enjoy reading them. Now here's a little task for you before we continue with more Starship news. YouTube may have unsubscribed you without your knowledge. This has happened to thousands of Y viewers and it can happen frequently. Please double check that you've hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss our updates. And while checking, hit the like button and consider becoming a Y supporter for exclusive SpaceX updates. With it, you get access to daily Starbase photo galleries, now including orbital, aerial, and ground photos of SpaceX's progress, and countless other extras on top. And no matter how much you decide to give, everyone gets the same supporter content and access. You decide what you want to give. Check out our new website as well, launch previews, road closures, the latest weather reports, and our multi-stream viewer, whataboutit.space. The link to our Patreon page and the new website is in the description. Thanks to all the supporters who help fulfill dreams for our team. We can't thank you enough. You rock. Staying on the subject of fast innovation, here's a little something for you. I'm on my way to Germany, but am I secure? Discover how to safeguard yourself abroad with Surfshark VPN. When traveling, I use Surfshark VPN, our video sponsor, instead of relying on public Wi-Fi for secure networking. Surfshark encrypts my connection, shielding against breaches and snoopers. Plus, the built-in antivirus protects me from viruses and malware. The best part? Identity protection with instant leak alerts and an alternative ID to avoid using my personal email and risk spam. Control your data footprint and travel worry-free with Surfshark. Secure your privacy with Surfshark. Enter coupon code Felix for an extra 3 months for free at surfshark.deal/Felix. Surfshark, surf with your own set of rules. Thank you, Surfshark. Check them out. Going back to the news, we're staying on the topic of SpaceX as we've received confirmation of a brand new dedicated Starship mission. That is right. This comes after our recent discussion about how Starship will revolutionize the market for commercial space stations. What a coincidence. At that time, I showed you companies like Gravitics and Vast already designing modules specifically with Starship's unique capabilities in mind. And we have a new player. Entering the competition is Starlab Space, an ambitious project aimed at creating a next-generation space station. This venture is a collaboration between Voyager Space and Airbus. The latter is a European giant in the aerospace industry responsible for hundreds of satellites and numerous space systems, and they have substantial funding capabilities. Starlab Space envisions a space station that can be launched in a single mission, featuring a living and working space 8 meters or 26 feet, both in diameter and in length. Ridiculously large. The station's interior will be focused on scientific research, even being dubbed the first science park in orbit. This orbiting laboratory will be equipped with 2 radiators, 2 solar panels, and a specialized robotic arm designed for tasks such as satellite deployment. NASA backed up Starlab in 2021 when it was selected as part of the Commercial Low Earth Orbit Destinations program. This selection came with a $160 million award to kickstart the development of a station envisioned to replace the International Space Station, which is anticipated to retire sometime around 2030. Initially, Starlab was designed around an inflatable module, similar to technologies used by Sierra Space in their live habitat or Bigelow Aerospace's Beam, which is still attached to the ISS for testing. However, at the start of 2023, the decision was made to switch to a more traditional metal can design instead. You know, there are not that many rockets that can launch an 8-meter or 26-foot wide payload. It shouldn't come as a surprise that Starship, with its unparalleled lift capability and size, has been chosen to undertake this monumental task. The launch of Starlab is set for no earlier than 2028, which means it likely won't be the first commercial space station to circle our planet. Nonetheless, it will be a major project to follow. Yet, NASA's ambitions extend far beyond just sponsoring space stations. At its core, the agency is deeply invested in science. This is why we're about to witness yet another in-orbit tool designed to enhance our understanding of Earth. Meet PACE, or Plankton Aerosol Cloud Ocean Ecosystem Satellite. NASA really loves acronyms. This Earth-observing satellite was designed to accomplish several objectives. Its primary mission is to monitor the health of our oceans by studying phytoplankton. These tiny organisms are one of the key species all life on Earth depends on, and they are important for us if we want to figure out how productive Earth's oceans are. PACE will also delve into analyzing Earth's atmosphere, examining clouds and atmospheric particles to refine our understanding of Earth's climate system and improve our weather forecast capabilities. Believe it or not, currently we're still pretty bad at predicting weather. Our atmosphere is an incredibly complex system. To outpace weather frogs worldwide, PACE is equipped with special instruments, including a high-resolution spectrometer capable of detecting wavelengths ranging from ultraviolet to shortwave infrared. Eat that, frogs! The satellite has already been encapsulated within Falcon 9's fairing and is slated to launch from Slick 40 on February 6th. Hopefully, by the time you're watching this episode, PACE is already on its way to orbit. After such a deep dive into SpaceX-related news, let's pivot to Virgin Galactic for a refreshing change of pace. This company is a pioneer in offering suborbital spaceflights to civilians. Admittedly, those civilians tend to be of the extremely wealthy kind, but you have to start somewhere, right? And 2023 marked a golden year for Virgin Galactic. While Blue Origin was working with the FAA to figure out why they lost a booster, Virgin Galactic achieved a near-monthly flight cadence. Out of 6 launches conducted that year, 5 were fully operational, each ferrying 3 paying passengers to the edge of space. After years of development, Virgin Galactic seemed to be finally able to start flying regularly. And then in November it was announced that Galactic 05 would mark the final mission of 2023. January saw the launch of VSS Unity with the Galactic 06 mission, which unfortunately potentially marked Unity's final journey into the skies. Despite its success and the milestone of carrying 4 paid passengers for the first time, opting to exclude the astronaut instructor, this mission was likely the end of the Spaceship Two era. While there's a slim possibility of one more flight in the latter half of 2024, the focus is shifting. Even though VSS Unity works, its business model is unsustainable for achieving profitability. Shiny but expensive. With approximately 800 tickets sold, fulfilling these commitments with just one plane at the current launch rate would require nearly 17 years of continuous monthly flights. And that is just for those who've already paid. This money is already gone. Anyone with basic knowledge of calculus can draw the conclusion. Running crewed spaceflight for 17 years without income might not be the best business idea. The only way for them to become profitable is to fly way more people, which is why all resources were shifted towards a Delta-class spaceplane. The Delta is designed to accommodate 6 paying passengers, offering a significant increase in launch cadence. From just 1 to up to 8 launches a month. 8 times 6, that's 48 passengers per month, 800 tickets so far sold, that is around 17 months. Way better than 17 years. The introduction of Delta could save Virgin Galactic. However, it won't be in service until at least 2026. Investors are worried that the company will run out of money before that, especially following Richard Branson's announcement last year that he would no longer invest in the project. That's why the company's only option is to take a huge gamble. Personally, I truly hope that they will make it. Virgin Galactic is just way too cool and they are so close. The technology works. Now it just needs to become profitable. Are there any billionaires watching Y willing to invest? That's it for today. Remember to smash that like button, subscribe for more awesome content. This is what fuels the algorithm and it helps us immensely. Check out our epic shirts in your favorite Space Nerd store. The link is in the description. And if you want to train your space IQ even further, watch this video next to continue your journey. Thank you very much for watching and I'll see you again in the next episode. Category fur. Category fur is right there in the basket. Insaney. Mechanical. It's requiring a